Alright, so I'm gonna go over my two Horus Black Flame Dragon level 8 decks. But honestly, when you look at these, they're more so just tacking in Horus to an already existing deck profile. I actually don't play it on this main account all that often. I was experimenting with a really big engine, but if you see these and notice that I'm using other decks and like videos and stuff or other cards, then that's why. I'm making do with those decks, but we'll just go ahead and start with this one. So this will probably be the most competitive version of it. Next to just throwing in the Dragon Link, which I think you could do, but I don't particularly like Dragon Links all that much. But obviously, as you can see here, the main objective is just simply you want a hard draw in your opening hand, a level up, and then you want as much gas to guarantee that you can set up a board that will end with Horus level 8. But you also still want it to be a competent board as well. So you would still want your board load and your crystal wing and all that stuff on there as well. So pretty much the idea here is you're still basically trying to turbo out Remus, but majority of your hands, if you have level up and you have like 2 Dragunity monsters, if it's Senatus or Remus, something like that, you can likely get your way over to Horus. The only difference in this deck profile compared to my normal Dragunity is you do need 2 Hieratic Seals. One to basically extend the combo using Samsora Dragon, and normal summoning or tribute summoning it with Dragunity Armor Mistleton. The ideal state that you would have is you would have your Kus already in the graveyard. So when you tribute summon, you bring it back out with your level 6. And then when Samsora has you tribute to Hieratic Seals, you use your Hieratic Seals to bring out the level 6, who then gets leveled up into level 8. You'll still use your Atum to special summon out your Red Eyes, and then with your next cycle of Gayderg, you send Samsora Dragon. So I have other videos where you can see the combo coming out in play, but it is something that you can do. And then I will go over to the Hieratic Dragon, show this one out as well. You'll notice that this one, despite it still going second, I'm not running any hand traps. And the reason being is, much like the other deck, you want as much gas as you can get. Because running these 3 level ups and 6 and 8 kind of breaks you just a little bit harder than you normally would be. And I also was kind of running into an issue of special summoning Nibiru with Monster Gate 3 games in a row. Yeah, you Monster Gate your level 5 and then it becomes Nibiru and then you have a level 6 next to it and you're just sitting there like, well, I can't do anything, pass. So I got rid of, pretty much all the hand traps and put more energy into Dark Ruler No More, Lightning Storms, Regeki, Harpy's Feather Duster. So if you're going second, evenly matched, you could basically just break the board and then set up your board to where they can't break it. So this is definitely more riskier, because if you go against Rongo, you pretty much just auto lose. Like, you auto lose against Rongo. But even if you go against something like Herald, your Dark Ruler No More can take it out, assuming that you are Druid. You know how that matchup goes. But other than that, this deck is pretty consistent for the most part. And you still have your fallback if you really just can't make anything. But you can at least get your 6s out. Then you can still go into Tolzin, who can get you a Crystal Wing, and you could just lose on that board, because you will lose. But otherwise, it's pretty much like your standard Hieratic deck. But like I said, you're tagging in the Horus. So if you open up level up and you have, like, say, your level 5 and Monster Gate and level up in your hand, you're guaranteed to get into Horus. How much of an extension you can do just kind of depends. If you're able to also open like your Sue, that could pretty much get you both your monster negate with Utopic Draco Future, and then pretty much your Omni Spell negate, which you love to see. So these are how I build it ultimately. Now this one, I'm gonna still show it just because I think it was pretty entertaining. With the most miraculous of hands, literally the God sends of a hand, you can theoretically end the board with Shiyu, Crystal Wing, Borolo, and Horus. I took a picture of it because I managed to do it turn 1. And it was literally everything that you needed, and of course it was against CPUs. You cannot make that type of board through a single hand trap, because every single card that you have has to go into use. Well, the exception being you could still make it with Gamma, if you open your your Remus and then they try to ash it and you Gamma. That's like the only one that you can actually open and it still brings you value, because it gives you a tuner at level 6 that allows you to make a Borolo later on. But yeah, you have to have the perfect hand, but technically it's doable. I don't know how you break that board. Minus summoning spheres and still having to play through another negate, assuming that you get rid of the right ones. So overall, pretty good. So these are the decks. Just wanted to make this video because a couple people have been curious. I know Horus level 8 is a very difficult card to bring out, and it was honestly one of my favorite cards growing up in the early 2000s when you would be playing Yu-Gi-Oh online with the little simulators, and I would run a Horus deck, and it was bricky, hard to use. So honestly, even though these aren't technically Horus's decks, these are probably the most competitive versions that you're going to be able to make. Without being absolute trash, because trying to run 3 of the level 6s and 2 of the level 8s, you're just asking for your hand to be just complete bricks and just not be able to do anything with it. These cards are so hard to play, and that's why when I came up with this whole idea, it really circled around how do you get the 6 on the board with a level up in your hand so you can get the level 8. This is the only one card that you need to see in order to get your level 8 on the board, and that's why you run 3 of it. Sometimes you'll open up 2, but for the most part, a hand that typically sees that you typically have your level up in, as you see here, that's very rare. But yeah, a hand like this, yeah, you're guaranteed. There's no way that you're not going to make. If you're going first, you're going to get him on the board with this hand. There's no way that you can't. You have your Gold Sarcophagus, Call by the Grave, so you send your Tempest, get another Dragunity card in your hand. You already have Remus in your hand, so you can send him to the graveyard. You make a full combo right here. You're guaranteed it, So that's really the premise of it. This one you wouldn't. This is a trash hand. Oh, I skipped that one, but it's fine. This one, you could make it. This will be a stretch, but you could technically make it. So yeah, that's what we have here. Hopefully you enjoyed. And again, I get it. These aren't Horus decks. These are more tech options. But if you can find a competitive way to run those bricks in in its own self-included deck, feel free to let me know. I'll play it. I'll try it out. Thanks for watching.